Hey guys, it's me again, Zoe, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. So, if you don't know me yet, I'm actually a medical student studying at De La Salle Medical and Health Sciences Institute here in the Philippines, the beautiful tropics of the Philippines. And yes, this video is actually very special because it's going to be my first collaboration video with Team PayaMED. So, who are we at Team PayaMED? So, it consists of myself. We also have JV from St. Luke's, Rose, She, and Elle from UERM, Kenneth from FEU, Miguel from UST, and Marco, an incoming first-year med student at ASMPH. So let's get to the topic. Well, right now, many medical schools have announced that they're going to be continuing with online classes for next semester. So as medical students, we decided to talk about the pros, the cons, and what do we want to do or what changes we plan to make to prepare ourselves for online learning. Without further ado, let's give the floor to Team PayaMED.
Bukod sa we will not be delayed by 1 year since time is gold for us medicine students or actually tayo mga nasa medical field, ay more of flexible environment and schedule yung nakikita kong pinaka-benefit natin from this setup.
I think the pros of online classes are it made me more self-sufficient, my time management, organization, and planning skills are honed, and third, because our lectures and discussions are scheduled, I study at my own pace, which I really appreciate. Compared to when we were having regular classes, the pacing of the lectures and the spacing of the quizzes are sometimes too short for me na I don't get to maximize my study time.
Another pro I can think of is you're in the comfort of your home. I think an aspect that I can understand is when people from the province go to Manila to study, it's a completely different environment. It can vary from person to person whether or not Manila is their safe space for studying. But in my experience at least, if I get to do online med school here in Tuguegarao where my parents are, knowing I'm safe, knowing they're safe, it puts a part of me at peace. So it can make me more productive and be more inspired because the main people who are my inspirations are here with me.
So I think some of the pros of online learning are you can study at your own time, you can study at your own pace, and lastly would be less pressure for you, I guess. So if you are not a morning person, then you're not forced to go to school early in the morning and you can do your assignments or homeworks in the evening, and it's just much better to study with no pressure and without thinking about an upcoming exam or an upcoming lab report and stuff like that. So I think those are some of the pros.
I can only think of one, as in isa lang, and that is comfort. The comfort of studying while sitting on a couch, the comfort of studying while lying on the bed. You can even watch K-drama on the side while studying. Comfort, and most especially, you don't have to leave your family behind. It's all on the comfort of your home.
I know myself, and I'm a clown kasi I lack self-discipline. So yun nga, inabutan kami ng pandemic last semester. So parang yung last semester yung naging transition stage to online classes. Based on experience, somehow nag-cram ako sa finals. Yung 3 months na preparation ko dapat for final exams, naging 4 weeks lang. And that's my fault. Kasi nga, I'm a clown.
Buong first year med, nasanay ako, and yung conducive na environment sa akin for learning at mag-aral is yung library sa school namin. And now na nasa dorm na ako, lalo na sa bahay, ang hirap mag-aral kasi hindi naman ako sanay dun sa environment na yun na nag-aaral ako. And also, ang daming temptation, like, ang daming distraction, wifi, Netflix, ganyan, kapag nasa bahay ka. So, yung focus mo, like, ang hirap mag-focus, mag-aral, kasi ang dami mong nakikita na pwede mong gawin, like, ganon, gets nyo ba? So, kahit nag-aaral ako sa bahay, parang hindi siya as efficient compared kapag nag-aaral ako sa library.
Another con is if your house is a stressful environment, that's gonna be a big deal. Another thing, if you're into studying out, that's a thing. I mean, a lot of boomers don't think that's a thing, but I think psychologically, like mental capacity-wise, that is a big deal. studying online in this pandemic is gonna be quite difficult.
There is anxiety, of course, dahil wala na tayo dun sa original setting na nakasanayan natin. Kasi yung usual na face-to-face, parang there's the pressure. Iba yung pressure na nagtitika ng exam in school, iba rin yung pressure na nagtitika ng exam sa bahay mo lang. Diba? Parang it's really different. Parang iba yung adrenaline, iba yung rush pagka nandun ka sa bahay mo lang nagtitik ng exam.
Also, because you bring work home, minsan mahirap na to delineate between work and recreation. May mga instances na I study too much, may mga instances na I play too much na hindi ako motivated to study at all. I think the most important con of online classes is that parang nababrush off yung reality that we're all undergoing a pandemic. Ang hirap mo kasi i-shift yung attention mo from a bigger issue at hand and focus on being just a student. Ang daming nangyayari sa paligid mo.
It's very anti-poor, so not everyone can definitely afford to have a very stable internet or a very reliable internet connection and a very reliable laptop or gadget. And aside from that, a lot of people would have to think about other things aside from, online learning. They have to think about what they're gonna eat the next day, or like where they're gonna get their funds for internet. And those are some of the things that like some of us don't even recognize because we have a fast internet connection and like we have a lot of gadgets to use. So I think bottom line is that online learning is anti-poor.
Well, first off, I have to accept the fact that we're not gonna have face-to-face classes anytime soon because of the situation of our country and the world. Wala, yun lang. I think acceptance is the first key talaga. And TBH, nabuhay kasi ako sa trans nung first year. And alam ko naman sa sarili ko na mali yun kasi syempre the best pa rin ang book. Kasi yun talaga yung, kumbaga, gold standard Book talaga over trans. Yung trans, dapat inaaral lang yun kapag review na lang or second reading mo na para ma-check mo kung may natutunan ka ba dun sa inaral mo from the book. Or naintindihan mo ba kung ano man yung binasa mo sa book. Yun, isa yun sa mga gusto kong baguhin ngayong second year.
Prepare ko na yung sarili ko, physically, mentally, emotionally, kung ano yung mga i-expect ko when it comes to the next curriculum. Kasi another year level na siya. What I need to do is maybe open and be aware kung ano lang yung mga i-expect ko. And therefore, I would have a little knowledge na when it comes to the new topics that I will encounter soon.
As you can see behind me, physically, I changed the layout of my room. I placed a book stand behind my study table so that I won't get a clear view of my bed and that I won't be tempted to sleep whenever I'm tired of studying. Second, I tailor my schedule like as if I'm still attending my classes. I wake up at 8 a.m. I try to finish before it gets dark. And then third, instead of the usual I study from 8 to 12, lunch break, 1 to 5, study again, I shortened the study periods and added short breaks in between so that I won't get too saturated with information.
First thing I will do is I will delineate a place where I will study and where I will quote-unquote play. I think that's a big deal because if you mix both, it's going to be pretty difficult to start studying. So at least when it comes to the transition of undergrad to med school, a good change that I really want to do is not really transcribing by hand my notes. That took up a lot of time when it came to undergrad, and I'm lucky that I had the time to do it. But when it comes to med school, when it comes to the amount of information and the amount of time that I have, I think there's like an inverse proportion or whatever. I'm gonna have to change how I study, and it's scary but fun at the same time because I think learning is fun. So yeah, let's see how everything goes.
Siguro the best way to adjust is to schedule time management. You have to sort your things to do, sort your week, and then strictly follow those schedule. It's very easy for me to say, but me myself, it's very hard to follow those schedules knowing na may Netflix dyan, may bagong K-drama dito. my social media. Anyway, what I am saying, how am I going to adjust? Time management.
Siguro, one major adjustment na gagawin ko for the next school year is to make a stricter study schedule and hopefully maging compliant ako. Feel ko, I will still follow the class hours. Siguro mag-aaral pa rin ako during the usual class hours na 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Sabi ko talaga sa sarili ko na don't pressure yourself, Nins. Na if mabagal ka man mag-aral ngayong pandemic compared sa iba, I'm gonna study at my own pace. Kasi mahirap talaga mag-aral ngayong pandemic and wala naman akong choice, di ba?
Keep myself motivated by thinking about myself as a medical doctor someday. Because it's more than just, being promoted or thinking about how to pass an exam, how to pass a quiz. It's more of, thinking about your patients in the future. You can't be an incompetent doctor and you owe that to your patients. You have to study well. You have to know the core values of being a medical doctor, the core knowledge of, medicine and all those stuff like physiology or anatomy and everything. And so you have to study well now because you can't be an incompetent doctor in the future. So I guess that's one of my biggest motivations, and that what keeps my fire burning are my patients in the future.
To sum it all up, there are a lot of pros and a lot of cons we can talk about, but the bottom line is it is something that's going to be happening, and we have to try our best to adapt to it. And we can do it in small ways. It doesn't have to be big changes, but right now, while it's still summer vacation, it's time for us to try to prepare ourselves, to adjust our mindset, adjust our physical surroundings to prepare ourselves for online learning. Because if we brush it off and we just take it lightly, like we don't take our subject seriously, then just like what JV said, think about your future patients. Because at the end of the day, you are doing all of this. You're studying so that you can be a doctor that can save lives, that can touch lives in the future. So I know I will try my very best to learn as much as I can. And there are changes, a lot of changes that I have to make. They sound super overwhelming, but nothing is impossible as long as you set your mind to it. And again, of course, everything around us is very overwhelming, and it's not a bad thing to take a step back and relax sometimes. And if you are feeling overwhelmed, reach out. There are a lot of people who'd like to help you and make learning much easier for you. Don't be afraid to say that you need help, because there are people who care about you, so never feel alone. If you made it this far and you watched the video up till here, thank you so much. I'm super excited to make more videos with Team PayaMED. If you wanna stalk them one by one, all of their channels are linked in the description box down below. And tune in, maybe there are more videos up ahead with Team PayaMED and a future community that we're planning to grow. Stay tuned, bye!